Hi, everybody. This is Cindy with Energized Living Today. Happy Fun Friday. I am still on my 21-day, in the middle of my 21-day cleanse. So no wine for me. So I have my minty water right here. That's what I'll be raising a glass with today, is my just plain old HO2 with a few herbs in it. So I hope that you've got your drink so that a little bit later we can do a toast, maybe a few toasts today. Well, I just want to start this with a toast to those of you who already voted. Yay, you. So lift your glass, everybody, to you, to the power of the vote. I am excited because we have one of my closest friends, Shivany Ganel, but now she just is going by Shivany. And it's a very unique name, and she's claimed it. And I love that. That's how empowered she is. She's a wonderful transformational teacher and leader. She has a prosperity community, and she also is an expert on the Akashic Records. And she did a chart for me that was amazing. And so today she's going to be telling us how you can do, she can do a reading for you and send you your chart so that you can see what's going on next. It's just incredible and really life-shifting to see what's coming, what your strengths are, what your different paths are, and she'll talk about all that today. Before we invite her in, Ferris, you want to say hi to everybody?
Hi, everybody. And Cindy,
Okay.
you could hide in a dogwood tree today.
Could I?
Yeah.
All my colors?
Your camo.
Yeah. I wanted to be, colorful. But Shivany, you want to pop on real quick and just say hi?
Yeah, hi. So lovely seeing everyone and spending your Friday evening with my Saturday morning, your Friday evening. So
yeah.
I'm excited.
She's in Australia.
Yeah.
What time is it there right now, Shivany?
9 o'clock Saturday morning.
Okay, so not too bad, not too early.
No, could be worse.
Yes. Great. Well, I want to just make a couple of announcements. First of all, tomorrow is 10/10. And I don't know why, but I got shivers around the number 10/10. I don't know if that has to do with Thich Nhat Hanh or not. It did come at the same time that I saw the monk in the world viewing room. So I don't know. I don't know if that's what it is or if it's something else. It still feels significant. So we'll see what that means by significant. That's all the more information I get. That sometimes they're just really cryptic. And so we'll find out tomorrow, but it is also a master day. This is, a magnificent day, 10/10/2020. Look at that divine code that's in there. So we have been working, I think it's really interesting because we've been working on the 10 commandments. We've rewritten the 10 commandments as we were assigned, unknotting them. So that's a 10/10. We have, the number 1, which is new beginnings, the 0, which is alpha and omega. We have the 2s. 2 is balance. It's the masculine and feminine energy. It is the number 10 creates new opportunities for us. It's a number of love and light. It's igniting our manifestation. So it really is perfect timing to have Shivany here at this time with those numbers in play, the energy of those numbers in play. And of course, the number 2 is also, did I say this already? It's a balance number. It's peace, it's balance. And so it is very strong, and you add up all those numbers together, it's a number 6, which is love and abundance. Again, that makes this call so divinely timed. And I love it when those kind of things happen. Now, before I want to mention again, on yesterday when we were talking, we had, we wanted to do a little celebration for Thich Nhat Hanh, and you know, the incident in Michigan happened, so we got sidetracked a bit. And I'm not apologizing for that, because when those things come up, we have to take time, we have to process them, we have to discuss them, and then we can make peace with them, and send our prayers, which we did, do a moment of silence. But there were a few things that I wanted to say just very quick about Thich Nhat Hanh. First of all, I wanted to talk about his name, because I was wondering, where did these names come from? Was this his birth name? And it was not. But the Thich is actually a title of both nuns and monks in Vietnam, and which is given, they're given a new family name. So that's actually a family name, which comes first. And then non, and it can be not or na, as some people say, and it means of best quality. And then Han means good-natured or right conduct. And so that makes up his name. And I think I did tell you yesterday that his followers refer to him as Thai, which means teacher, and it's T-H-A-Y. And I hope that I'm pronouncing that properly. You know, he's been quoted by Barack Obama. He now is, he's an engaged, he developed engaged Buddhism, which is very mindful. He's a Zen master, and he does what is called applied Buddha Dharma, and it helps transform people's lives. He's written over 100 books, 70 of them are in English, and he has suffered, I think about 6 years ago, a stroke. We talked about that. And he has decided, you know, it's just time. And all of the monks from all over the world are gathering, but they can't get to him because of COVID. They have to have a 14-day quarantine before they can see him, because he is really, really weak. And so I don't know if the 1010 means he's going to transition during these master number times. It's pretty auspicious time, so we'll just see about that. But I just want to give that information and send out love and honor him for all the beautiful work that he's done and how he's inspired all of us. So let's go ahead and start talking about the Akashic Records. This is so cool. And today on my calendar, the Untethered Soul, it says, how long have you been hiding in there, struggling to keep it all together? There is no peace and there is no winning in that struggle. And so it just seems really perfect way to introduce Shivany. So Shivany, thank you for being here and helping us understand the Akashic Records.
Sure. So maybe I'll start and explain what are the records, just in case some of you not know. So basically, everybody has their very own Akashic record, and it's an energetic database that has recorded everything you've ever done in however many lifetimes. And it also records who are you at soul level. So this is the chart that Cindy referred to. What are your divine gifts? What's your soul specialization? What's your life lesson this time around? Where did you actually originate from? What's your soul group of origination? And all that will give you particular characteristics that you still bring into this life. And so the more you can actually align yourself to your soul versus your mind, the easier and more profitable and more joy your life will be. So has anyone, maybe I'd love to hear from the group, have you ever had a reading from the Akashic? Are you aware of the Akashic? it's also called the Book of Life. Yeah, in the Bible, it's referred to as the Book of Life.
Yes. I think it was, when I looked it up, it said Book of Life and God's Book of Remembrance.
Thanks, Camille.
So,
yeah.
Yeah. So it
Yeah.
helps us remember
Yeah.
what was, and it talks about the past, present, and future.
Yeah.
So knowing
You know,
these.
and sometimes I see it all the time, because I think we are in a society where we grew up that things have to be hard. Yeah, you have to work towards something. And so quite often we don't realize our innate gifts, which are not hard. That comes natural, right?
Yeah.
And we overlook it because we think it's nothing special, but that is specifically, your speciality.
And I love that you said that, because, I used to do a lot of stuff for the military, a lot of programs for the military. And I remember this, I was doing this presentation and I said, I do personality type and temperament. And I was telling everybody in the room, go towards your strengths, and then your weaknesses will be developed along the way. But what happens is people ignore their strengths and they focus on their weaknesses, thinking it's going to pull them up. And what it does is it weakens the strengths, because you don't develop that muscle. So you don't play with the gift that you have that comes easy to you. And so I never got that. And afterwards, the general came up to me and he said, "We've always taught people to focus on their weaknesses." He said, "I didn't think about that, but you're right. You lose that skill over time, and then you start focusing on something that's not your nature, when the ease of who you
Yeah.
are can just show up." And I love that about the Akashic Records.
Yeah, just I'm working with a client long term, and we've just started, and she's a body worker, chiropractor, and also incredible energy worker, and she is now going online, so she can't really see clients anymore.
Yeah.
And so within a coaching call, she mentioned that she can read people. And I was like, "Oh, what do you do?" And she, within 5 minutes, she could basically tell me, "Well, this is your shoulders up, this is happening." And she was so spot on in that little mini reading. And when I said, "Well, this is one of your superpowers," and she goes, "But doesn't everybody do that?" I'm going, "No, I can't do that." Yeah. And she's now doing that with her people on Facebook and is getting clients. Yeah. She did not recognize what she was naturally good at. And she thought wasn't special. Or she thought everybody can do it. Yeah.
And that's what so many people do. Again, they focus on their weaknesses instead of their strengths. Well, this is too easy.
Yeah,
No
exactly.
such thing. Life is
Make
hard.
money by doing something that's too easy. Yeah, we should
Life
be
is
working.
hard in so many other ways. Why would you do that? So, we've got enough challenges without making some up.
That's right. That's
So, let's see here. Is there anything here? Well, we'll. I don't want to get sidetracked again about some of the election stuff, so we're not going to go there right now, because I don't want to get into fear or anything. But if there's something about the Akasha, if you're familiar, if you've had readings before, go ahead and put them in. If you understand what it is, go ahead and put whatever in. And Ferris, you want to read those?
Yeah, Karen said, Camille said, yes, she's heard of it. DJ said she had a reading many years ago. Penny said she knows about it, but never had any kind of a reading. Alexa said, I've heard of it, never had a reading though. Penny said she just knows the basics. Marielle said she was a participant in an evening workshop where they went into the Akasha guided by a teacher. Mary said she worked with Lisa Barnett for many years. Cool lady, Lisa.
Yeah, beautiful teacher.
Linda said she's had a reading also. And Marielle said she also listens to Lisa Barnett's webinar. Alice said, I've never had an Akashic reading. Can you explain more on how you go into an individual's records?
That's
That's a good question.
Really good question.
Patricia said, I know about the Akashic records, but I don't know how someone reads them. And Linda said, in my experience, I was told to ask my questions. They could only be about me, though. And from what I've heard before, I think that's about right, isn't it?
Well, I need.
That you can access someone else's.
Well, only with explicit permission. So I could not just access anybody's record without permission.
And how do you get into them to answer that question?
Yeah, let me answer it a bit wider. So there are many, although, well, let me give you an example. And I will get to the question, I promise. So if any one of you have ever done yoga, the yoga basically has particular postures. And then how you put it together, what you do with yoga, it becomes a very, very different experience. Whether you are Iyengar yoga, Ashtanga, Bikram, Hatha yoga, yeah, they're using the same poses, but it's how they put it together is very different. And it's the same with the Akashic training. So although it's always the Akashic, how you learn to access it depends very much on the teacher. And I have a teacher that channeled her material through by herself. So that is soul realignment with Andrea Hess. And so her teaching is actually very, very different to anything what I can see online out there on Akashic. So with her, we basically got, initiated. And then the way I go in is I ask like short meditation, prayer, and then I basically need specific information, like your full name at birth, name now if it's different, your date of birth, and where you were born. And then I basically ask, do I find Mary Blake, born, whatever, in this country? And I use a pendulum, so I get yes or no answers. And I always double check the answers. So if I get a yes, I double check again. Have I got confused with anyone? Yeah. And so even for me to go into the records, I ask questions. Am I allowed to read for you? Because it happened only once in probably 1,000 readings, but your soul can be busy integrating something else, and your soul goes, no, go away. Not the right time.
I didn't know that could happen.
Oh, yeah. 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 And then I'm also looking at restrictions for truth. Does whatever happens, what you've done it, because we're really looking at what did you create? What was your decision that maybe created some unexpected circumstances for you? So we're also looking at blocks for truth. And depending what comes up, I need to clear already. Like what comes up regularly is that, especially if we are trying to please people, and which comes from a ultimately disempowered place, what we can do energetically, and we are not aware of it, we're literally putting mirrors up. And instead of standing tall with our opinion, we are reflecting we are reflecting the other person in front of us. And that is a block of truth that I would need to clear, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. It sure does.
Yeah. And quite often, these people are incredibly charming, but they're basically picking up what the other person wants to hear and says that back rather than standing tall with their own opinion. And it can be, especially now, it can be very hard, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of an understatement, actually.
Right. That's right.
That's why I thought today's calendar quote was so appropriate, because hiding all this struggle keeps us in the struggle. So this helps us to understand and unravel that a bit.
Yeah, and Linda, I just see the chat here. So Linda, some of it is yes or no questions. So some of it are, for me, I have whole tables that I douse, but also when I do the full reading, which takes hours and you do only once a lifetime in my system because we are clearing karma. And the reason you do it once a lifetime is that you can only clear that much karma without going into a healing crisis. So then I piece together the lifetimes, where the restrictions, what happened, what did you decide, and then we clear it. And you get also homework, home play, to bring the energy that I've cleared in the Akashic through the emotional, mental into the physical, because that's where we want to create change. Yeah, it's about transformation. But the information on who you are is more with tables and yes or no questions, if that makes sense.
Can you read kind of a sample, or you can bring up mine? I'm fine with it.
Read out one?
Yeah, just
Or
a sample of one of them, just so people kind of get a feel for what they are, like your soul urge and.
Yep, okay, let me bring you up.
And then you get a very powerful soul statement. Is that what it's called, soul statement?
I don't know to be honest, I'm not quite sure where you're going.
Quote, a meditation or a quote or okay.
Okay. Okay, so yeah, look, I'll read you out Cindy's divine gifts, which, although we talk about energy centers here, it has nothing to do with chakras. It's literally the energetic qualities that your soul is made of. Yeah, and the more you can lean into that, like I said, by default, you're manifesting abundance and joy. So you can have one vibrational quality, one gift, that most souls have one gift, some have two. Now, Cindy has two, of course. Now, that is not, it's not better, because sometimes that can be harder because these two gifts have to be expressed in combination. All right. So Cindy's primary is the 7th energy center, divine power. So you're here to show us how powerful we are as creators of our experience. We have access to divine power through free will and choice. So this center is about doing and being whatever we want without limitation. Now, that is our birthright in general, to be, do, have whatever we want. But with divine power, it's almost another notch higher, so to speak. And for Cindy, it would be, I have an inspired idea, I run with it, I create it, and I'm successful, and look at me. Here's how it's done. Yeah, that would be the full expression of that. And I think she's done that plenty of times. So for Cindy, having freedom of choice is incredibly important, and a sense of freedom is one of your most important values. Mm-hmm. You're highly energetically sensitive. You have an innate understanding of energy. You might be intuitive or psychic, but also introverted, because being around people and their noisy energy all day is exhausting. Now, sometimes, especially with true divine gifts, that might cancel each other out. And her second gift, which I'll tell you in a moment, is divine love. And divine love actually loves people. They want to be with people and connect. So, Cindy, you manifest extremely quickly and powerfully, provided that you're aligned. And if not, you can also powerfully manifest a whole bunch of nothing. And for you, like basically, divine power, they are the mover and shakers. They do things really quickly. And I got an experience of that when Lorelei, Cindy, and I created the Soul View. Because Cindy was already out the door before we knew it. She created everything, and Lorelei and I were still scratching our heads. And I'm like, okay, divine power in action, right? So
I remember that conversation.
Yeah,
You called,
like,
you said, well, we need this, we need this, we need this,
Yeah.
we need this, we need this. And I said, done. She
yeah,
goes,
I know. And we're like, oh, yeah, yeah. Because you take action more easily than most, because you also understand that only choice creates new experience. Now, and you're a natural leader and entrepreneur. That's just who you are. Now, everything comes with a shadow. So here the shadow is that you can get stuck in being busy rather than productive. And also
I've
money
been
is
reading my mail.
Yeah, you can also get stuck in too many possibilities, none of which you want to rule out. And then you don't want to close any doors, and you might have difficulties about making decisions about your next steps. You can also get frustrated with the pace of other people because, like I said, you take action really, really fast, you get a lot done. Now, again, another shadow is if you are in a team, there is a tendency that you take on more responsibility than others. And you need to put yourself in a leadership role where taking responsibility is both rewarded and appropriate. And you need time for yourself because you're so sensitive. And then when we couple that with divine love, which is the fourth energy center, so this is about divine love and healing, and Cindy is a natural healer. That's not something you necessarily do, it's something who you are. Because you help us recognize that we are whole, that we are not broken, we've never been broken, there's nothing to fix, that we are all one. And your incredible healing gift is loving acceptance and total non-judgment. And you hold a sacred space for others in which they can reclaim pieces of themselves that they have made wrong, that they have disowned. And you love being with people. And you're incredibly giving. And the shadow side is that people may take advantage of your generous and giving nature, and you become depleted. Yeah, and you tend to need close relationships. You love taking care of others, being taken care of, nurturing, being nurtured. It's all about interdependency and relationship for you. So,
The being nurtured is hard for me.
mm,
It's more one, it's always been one way, like this, and getting it. I don't know why that is. Although I have to say Ferris has always spoiled me a lot.
yeah, because you're naturally giving, yeah, but we can sometimes give up way, way, way too much and then become depleted. Yeah. Yeah.
And does anybody else have that? Anybody else feel that way? Raise your hand or put it in chat.
So yes, indeed, and that's just the divine gifts. That's just one aspect of the soul profile, but I think it captures her very perfectly. Yeah, you are the leader, you are fast, you do things, just that you're also holding this amazing loving space. Yeah. So,
And you're right, one cancels the other out almost. I recognize my need for solitude,
yeah.
to be alone, to recharge my batteries. I like to sit alone outside. I'm very connected to Mother Earth, to Gaia and nature. And I have to be, that's where I write the best, is when I'm in nature. And so that's where I recharge my batteries. I'm a Pisces, water element. And so I've got to recharge that energy. And I feel that innately, but then I will lose ground completely if I'm not around people. Like I get more done when I'm connected with our community.
Yeah. And you're living it perfectly. And here's the thing, I remember, my teacher always said, you can't guess. Yeah. Like I read for somebody, and I had I thought she would be divine wisdom, divine power, and it was nothing like it. And then when, like, who she was personality wise, yeah. And so when I read for her, I was like, oh, I hope I got it right. And yeah, and her just at soul level, she was totally differently wired to how she presented herself. And she recognized that.
And why do people do that? Why, does it go back to, the dog you feed? they see some other need that, okay, I've got to do this, so I'm going to take this route instead of what's easy for me. Is that where that comes from? Or?
Look, I would go back even further, because if I take a bigger look at our society and the society we were all born into, we've been literally brainwashed not to listen to our soul, not to listen to our body. Yeah, the mind is held in the highest esteem. And with that also comes, you're not enough, there is not enough, you're crazy if you have different abilities and you want to pursue that. Yeah, we are so used to having to fit in. And so eventually we close down, and because it's easier to survive in our society. But I think what's being asked of us now is we need to go within, and we need to create from our spirit, from our soul.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think that's why, I think sometimes we can, even if we've done a lot of work on ourselves, the recognition of our power and being able to run with the gifts that we have, especially now, right? Like now it's like everybody's in this collective, that's how I feel it, this collective holding our breaths. Like, oh. We're waiting.
I am vowing to be younger on the other side of this, not older.
Yeah. So I think to answer your question, sometimes we don't realize how we are still brainwashed by society in believing what's possible for us. And so we don't even get the inspired ideas, or we get them, and then the ego mind immediately comes in and goes, nah, who do you think you are? And it costs too much money or too much time. No, I can't do that. And so we shut ourselves down.
Mm-hmm. I want to take just a moment and invite Ferris in. I see lots of messages coming by really fast. So you want to go ahead and catch those, Ferris?
Okay.
We'll bypass all the political ones.
We don't have any.
It was.
I'm going to go backwards here.
All right.
So y'all forgive me for that. Mina said spiritual beings having a human experience. David said being an empath has its challenges. Boy, howdy.
It sure does.
Yeah, especially right now. You've got to shield yourself.
Mina said we're here to unprogram ourselves and remember who we are.
Mm-hmm.
Marcia said, I don't work fast, I work slow and have since I was a child. When I'm alone, my mind can go very fast. I can write books in my mind in days, but can't get them written down. Well,
Yeah.
That's hard. Mina said there's the saying, don't believe everything you're thinking.
Yeah, I love that.
I do too.
I do know and sense something. Some of the women here are the divine sacred feminine, combination of warrior and healer.
Yes.
Mary said, I love being with people, but I also revel in spending time alone. And Mina said, it's interesting that we're all here at this very present moment, birds of a feather. And we got several comments of the same. Marcia said, I used to be very much like that, but in the 90s, I switched to spending my time nurturing myself. Other than our parents, I've let go of taking care of others. And DJ said, yes, I agree about being in nature. Patricia said, and I work very fast and manifest just as fast. People always tell me that. I get frustrated with things that stop my speed. And basically, we've got a lot of Cindy's here.
Right. Right. And yeah, I just had a look at what Patricia wrote. She said, yes, we are a soul group.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, we are. But when I look up your soul group, that is something totally different. So imagine when your soul has been created, you will vibrate like you. And your very first planet you move to will vibrationally be like you and create different characteristics that you still bring here into planet Earth. So different understanding of soul group. Yeah, so that makes, and then of course all the aspects are read together, which makes your specific blueprint, who you are at soul level. But yeah, as souls, we are all connected, and this is our soul group, yeah, the soul gang.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And everybody here likes taking the soul view of life.
Yeah.
And for me, it's, this is one more tool that we can and divine information that we can do.
There's your puppy.
There's Akash.
Oh gosh. How big is Akash?
Oh, Akash is 2.5 years now.
Are you going to bring him in where we can see him?
Yeah, we've got a lot of snake activity at the moment. The snakes are out. Like, he's a Rhodesian ridgeback, so he would normally not bark. But whenever there's movement in the garden, thank God, he barks his head off. And I say thank God because I found a snake wrapped around my bedroom door a few weeks ago.
That freaked me out when you told me.
But
holy cow!
Still, yeah, I think I did share that. Yeah,
and y'all have some nasty snakes.
Well, this was I didn't recognize it. Was a very unusual python, rare python. But yeah, it wasn't fun. At 6 o'clock, Akash is barking his head off and was still dark. I'm like, what is happening? And then, oh, snake. Oh my God, snake. Akash, stop. Come here. It's all right. I know.
And how much does he weigh now?
So?
How much does he weigh now?
He's probably 85 pound. So
Yeah. Y'all, Akash is actually a small pony.
no, he's a Rhodesian Ridgeback, but he thinks he's a lapdog. And
Yes.
I don't know if you listen to the Soul View, Cindy and Lorelei and I, like Lorelei had a kitten, Cindy and I got a new puppy in the same month. Not intentional.
Right. It was, we didn't even know.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. Come on, Akash, settle down.
Mina said we've gone from Akashic to dog and snake talk.
Well, for me,
he kind of had to get his voice in there.
Yeah.
He was agreeing with mommy. That's what it is.
A snake is really about, for me, it's about transformation.
Yeah.
Yeah. And a snake, there's nothing like a snake that makes you really present.
And the other thing about a snake is it's shedding old skin. In Native American, it's shedding the old skin and welcoming.
And I think that's really what's been asked of us, the shedding of the skin, to going deep within, and to instead of holding our collective breath, I would suggest it's time to take action and not wait, because the mind has a linear timeline, and it easily can go, well, I wait till the election, and then I wait till, fill in the blank. But the time is now.
Yeah.
If you need to reinvent yourself, if you need to, whatever you need to do in your life, it's now, and it's about taking action now, because you can wait forever.
Isn't that a wonderful divine lesson we're being given?
Yeah.
It is. If you look at it from a different perspective, it's a divine lesson. Act now, don't wait.
Well, and it's a spirit, I think spiritually, we've always been told that. It's just that the stakes are a little bit higher now. Mm-hmm. And everything is up in our faces. Yeah. And including even, not even, the fear of death, the fear of losing everything, whatever comes up for us. But spirit would always tell you, first of all, you are loved, your guides are still with you. No matter what happens, the spiritual has not changed. But I think we need to become more vigilant of what we let into our consciousness, because the outside world, I think, is hell-bent in creating a lot of fear. And guess what? When you're in fear, you can't listen to your guidance because you're contracting. You won't get the inspiration that might lead you out of a situation you want to get out of.
We have some questions coming in, Ferris. You want to go ahead?
And well, DJ first said, how do you get the snake out?
How did you get the snake out? I can't remember if you told me.
Well, look, I'm very lucky. I'm living in this very, very small rural community with literally 1,000 people. And I rang what do you do? I rang my neighbor. And my neighbor said, my husband hates snakes. He won't be any good, but here's another number. And the local snake catcher came within half an hour. At 6:30, they came, and they didn't even want any money. It was amazing. It's like, nah, just community service.
I love it. I love it.
Mina said, all my life I've been afraid of snakes, and maybe it's time to shed my skin, the skin of fear and anxiety, and wake up and deal with the comfort of uncertainty.
Yeah, and I think that's what we've been really asked to do now.
David said she loves that phrase, act now, don't wait. Patricia said, what information do you need to do an Akashic record chart? Is it only based on questions or any astrology? She's never had a reading, nor does she know how others do it, or is it also intuitive?
Mhm. Okay, so basically, I would need your full name at birth, your name now if it's changed, your date of birth, and place and country where you were born. And then I find you. Um, that reading, it's not so much, asking questions in the record. Like the very first reading is basically, who are you at soul level? That's half of it. And that is on offer. And the other half is basically, what's your intention for the reading and what is in the way? Where are the blocks, the restrictions, the karma that is totally unconscious but is still holding you back today? Because just moving from lifetime to lifetime, if karma is not cleared, it will have an expression today. Yeah, and then we're clearing all that. And that means you bring more of your soul gifts through, because we're literally bringing the soul back into wholeness, back into alignment. But that is the second, that would be the full reading,
Yeah.
which is called the Soul Success Blueprint. And that, like I said, you do it once a lifetime. It takes a few hours to piece it all together, and then it takes 90 minutes to 2 hours on a call with you. But it's not really, although it's psychic, it's not a psychic reading as in what will happen in the future. It's more, this is who you are, this is what suits you the best, and here we clear anything that restricts you to actually move forward. Yeah.
Now, I've had readings before where they talk about past life events, but you don't, that's not the kind of
Oh,
Akashic reading.
yeah. I can tell you 5 lifetimes ago, you were female. This is what happened. This is the decision you made. But I'm ultimately, I don't care literally who you were, what exactly happened in a past life. What I care about is, let's have a look at the pattern that was created. Like that's the
Yes.
origination of the pattern. And let's have a look, how does that play out today? So we're making the unconscious conscious, and then of course we clear it, but then I also help you take new physical action steps, and it will cement the clearing. Yeah, we still need to do something different in the physical because we're here on planet Earth. Does that make sense?
Beautiful.
Mhm.
Beautiful. Yes, absolutely. You know, we're all fascinated. You know, who was I in a past life? We're all fascinated
Yeah, but
with
that's okay.
that. And
You know,
it's fun to know that, but you're absolutely right, Shivani. Knowing what patterns that you had throughout other lifetimes that you've brought into this one and then clear it, that's going to benefit you more than knowing if you were an Egyptian slave,
yeah,
you know. Just,
yeah. Who cares?
you know,
Yeah, yeah.
it's
Like I look at, in that full reading, what I see, for example, a lot is a vow of poverty, right? And especially if you've been a nun, obedience, poverty, normal vows. And if that's not recognized and cleared, you will have problems with money this lifetime. Either you make enough money and then suddenly bills crop up so you can never save, or you really have challenges creating enough money to live. And so when we clear the vow of poverty, it's not that immediately you get all this money suddenly, but we clear it. And when you get inspired ideas, you will now be able to move forward with that idea. Yeah. So, because quite often we don't know, like the, I don't remember your name, but say the woman who said, well, I write whole books in my mind, but I'm never ever publishing them, right? So what is in the way of that? Yeah, and it could be fear of criticism, or what I also see with us spiritual folks, when we are in what I call the fifth dimension, fourth dimension is our mind. When we can feel and sense the new, and it's almost so tangible that we believe, oh, any moment it will come, but we forget that we need to take physical action as well.
We forget the three-dimensional
Yeah,
plug-in.
we are here on planet
Yep.
Earth.
We are having a physical experience, and so we have to do the physical work.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it's about aligned action, obviously, but sitting still and waiting, well, it's a non-action, but it has a consequence, because every choice we take has a consequence. That's actually what karma is.
Mm-hmm. So if somebody wants to work with you, if they want to get a reading, either one, how do they do that?
I think you've got a link, have you? What I like to invite you into is the soul profile, because that's not rocking your finances too much. It's $97. And I basically look up, who are you at soul level? What are your gifts? How can you express that? And then I have that for you in writing, but we'll also get on a call that is recorded. And then I give you the reading, but you can also ask me questions. And depending on your questions, because I'm also a coach, I'm a healer, we'll look at what could be the next step for you, depending on your situation. How can you move forward? Because I'm also good at thinking outside the box. And there's always something you can do. But you can also check my website, although this is a very special offer for Cindy and for you as a community. So you won't find it on the website, but you will find the full reading, which includes, if you want to go, like what I'm giving is information, very important information. The full reading is the transformation. And the $97 offer is not on my website, but you can check me out. So yeah, if you're in, because I think everything really happens within, and notice any reactions that you have, and there could be plenty, but also go within rather than out. Yeah, because that is, like, I think with anything happening, yeah, it's almost designed to put our attention out there. And how could I do it? And oh my God, and look at this, right? All really valid, but it's not helping us. What's really now required is to do your purpose, to live your purpose, to go within. The old ways are not working anymore, and they will not, we will never ever go back to normal.
Well, yeah, we've got a new normal.
We have, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And we are creating the new normal right now. Because
Shivany,
we're conscious.
I think you've answered pretty much all the questions we got here, but one, Marcia asked, are you guided as to what people are ready to hear? And she gives an example. She said she became aware a few years ago that in a past life she had been buried alive, but she wouldn't have been able to handle that knowledge if she had had it before that time.
Mm-hmm. Look, I really trust that if your soul, your heart says yes to the reading, and you create an intention, which I need because the records are so vast. I really trust that nothing that you can't handle will come up.
That
That's
really
my-
makes sense. I mean,
Yeah.
why would soul do that? to you?
Your soul is in charge,
Yeah.
you know. And I've never had anybody, and literally I've probably done 1,000 readings by now. I've never had anybody say, I can't handle this, or how did you tell me that? Because remember, I look more, because I'm also a psychotherapist, I want to help you move forward. So I look more at patterns. Yeah, so, and I want to translate what I see into today, because it's today that we want to move forward.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Mike's got his hand up. Mike, what you got?
Excuse me.
It was Bernadette, actually.
Oh,
I was just, this is my
We confuse you.
granddaughter. We're visiting.
hi.
Say hi.
Hi there.
But I was wondering with Cindy's Akashic, what her soul group was. What planet did she start with? I thought that was interesting.
Oh, I don't know. Let me look it up. No, I don't think I've given you the soul group, Cindy. Only gave you the life lesson and the divine gift. So I don't know.
Okay.
Okay, got it.
You need to do an upgrade.
Yeah. Yeah.
I need to do the other one. Seriously.
You need to upgrade to first class.
Yeah. And
That was for Mike's benefit.
Do that. I tried it and it came up with 0, and I don't think it's fair to pay 0 for this, so I'll have to put in the $97.
Yeah, I think that would help. Yeah. That's what I mean. So it's, yeah, you do. I'm sorry. At least I have a link. This is pretty good. So yeah,
Well, I've
I'll
already
put it in the chat.
So
And
if you'll
Steven.
me, because I've already paid for it, so you can connect with me and we will work on that.
Okay.
It's just what that's like.
And Ferris, I get for first class for free, but on standby.
Yeah.
Working for the Carol.
Bernadette, I sang you happy birthday on your birthday, by the way.
Yes, thank
Did you
Susan.
divinely hear me?
Yes, I did. Between blowing out the candles, we had a funny thing. My sister made me a homemade chocolate cake, which was amazing. We had the grandkids and everything. We're all singing happy birthday. And they didn't have anything to write happy birthday, so she did like a little stencil and did it with powdered sugar. And when I blew out the candles, all the powdered sugar went all over my grandkids. I mean, priceless.
That's great.
You just made the house a little sweeter.
Yep.
Oh,
That's right.
and the kids. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, again, you can book a session with Shivany, and she books out quickly. So you want to go ahead and get it taken care of right away. It might.
I'm right. Linda asked me, can I repeat what's covered? So basically, your divine gifts, which you can have 1 or 2 in combination. Soul specialization is another specific clue for you, and that can be anything of being really systematic and being able to work a system to escorting souls back into, wherever you believe they end up. So soul specialization, life lesson, and your soul group of origination, which will give you specific characteristics. Yeah, I'll give you an example. My soul, like literally, when I had a reading and somebody told me about my soul group, I literally started sobbing, and it came out of nowhere. I couldn't even stop, because for me, my whole life suddenly made sense. My soul group, I basically come from a planet of unconditional love. So imagine being on a planet
And then come in here.
unconditional love is normal, right? And then we were invaded and we had to flee basically. And for me, I was always like being here, apart from at the beginning, where am I? What is going on here? For me, it
You're
was
a
always,
star seed.
why do people, like for me, love was always everything. And I couldn't understand how unloving people were to each other. Yeah. And because I still had this imprint of unconditional love. And yeah, and they, like people from that soul group, move a lot. I mean, I moved even across countries. So yeah, it makes sense for a lot of you. I hope it will make sense. And for me, it was like I said, my heart opened and everything made sense through the lens of the soul group. And the lesson, like for me, is to bring unconditional love to myself rather than looking from the outside.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, that was very powerful for me.
And Mary said, yes, she's a star seed as well. And that's, yeah. And it feels like the star seeds kind of got blown to the wind, ended up on different planets. Yeah. Yes. And Patricia said she's homesick. So I think a lot of us are star seeds.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. And it's not the place, it is the soul recognition, the unconditional love that we're missing. We're missing so many things from there that's just more volatile here.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Or there's a soul group, they really want to help everybody, and they're very much into equality for everybody, human rights, like it's like, although it's Akashic Records, it's very grounded and you will recognize yourself, or there might be some surprises depending.
yeah.
But they're good, right? No bad surprises.
The surprises are in that, like when you did mine, where my stumbling blocks were, in my strength. And once you identified them, Shivany, then I was able to look at it and go, oh, that's been a stumbling block. And that's been a stumbling block. And, oh, I see how I need to look at this differently. So it kind of shifts your thinking to get past those things that hold you back.
Yeah.
And clears that karma.
Shadow. Yeah. Yeah. Like, for example, my divine gift is the spiritual teacher, divine communication. And the shadow is that I am an information addict. I am.
That about you.
You should see my nightstand. I have like 10 books piled up. And realized I needed a break from social media and also television, because I realized too much. I got into this energy of fear of missing out. Yeah. And then realized, oh, I'm just living my shadow at the moment. So I think,
and everybody is, I think it's happening to everybody. So the more you know about yourself, the more grounded you can stay, the more empowered you can stay through this time of such constant distraction.
Exactly. Yeah. I think, it's not that you never ever get out of balance, but it's faster. Yeah. To come back into balance and recognize, oh, I'm doing this now. Okay. Rein myself in.
Yeah.
And feeling better. Fear of missing out. Yeah, Linda.
Yeah, and Anne has an interesting question. She wants to go home. She's done with this earth experience, and she wants to go home. She wants to transition, and she's been feeling that way for a while. And this might be the answer for you, Anne, is that, you're a starseed. You have been blown to the wind like many of us, and, been to different planets, but here it just doesn't, it's not a fit. And so I think a lot of people are feeling that way. So, this might be a way to clear that. To keep
Well,
clear
not
that longing.
sorry. I know it's confusing. So the $97 is the soul profile. So that is the information. The clearing is actually the much bigger version that you do once a lifetime, which is on my website, shivany.com, and that is the Soul Success Blueprint. And that you do once a lifetime. Now that is all automated. You have a link, you can go there and click on the link and buy it. It's $497, and before I even give you the reading, I spent around 3 hours in the privacy of my home to piece it all together, and then I write it all up, and then you make an appointment and we'll be on the call, depending, at least 90 minutes up to 2 hours. Yeah, so that is the full version of one specific reading you do once a lifetime. But in the soul profile, I don't do any clearing.
Oh, you
That's
don't?
it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I was thinking that you
Just
said you did karma.
Yeah. Because, like I said, it's 5 hours easily work for the full
Wow.
Yeah.
reading.
And DJ says animals and beautiful spirits in our lives too. Fear of missing out. Yeah, the Linda says her too. I think a lot of people are afraid they're gonna miss something important. That's why I will give time to a show or one show or two, just depends on, the selection information. I want to know what's going on there, but that's it. Most of the time, most days I'm just doing headlines and that's all. To stay out of
and just ask, would a shorter appointment answer my question? No. Only because it's like I've with my training, I've learned a whole system. Yeah. So in this second half, where we look at karma, I'm looking at around 100 questions, 100 things that could have gone in inverted commas wrong. And then the picture emerges. What happened? Why? What did you decide to do? What are the repercussions? Yeah, so even if I wanted to, I can't make it shorter because you want the full reading rather than asking 5 questions out of 100.
I think she meant the $97 appointment rather than the $497.
Yeah. So yeah.
Yes, and it's.
But if you're, I would again ask your heart, not your mind, and if you are attracted to the Soul Success Blueprint, which is on my website, then go for that, because literally miracle, if it's right, in inverted commas, right? I've seen miracles happen, literally. It's because we are bringing, like, the soul gets injured. A lot of people don't realize that. So the soul gets traumatized, basically. Yeah. So, for example, just on one level, if you see your house burn down and your kids are in the house fire and you're outside, it's very, very traumatic. And what happens? You would immediately take on part of your kids' soul parts, which also means suddenly you have extra soul parts, but they don't integrate because they're not yours. Yeah. So with any, we've just the last 100 years, have a look how barbaric our world was and cruel. I mean, we're not much better, but we've experienced a lot of trauma, and the soul gets injured, and we don't realize that. The only way we can realize it is that our life is not going how we want it to go. Yeah, so that's why we do this full session, to actually bring your soul back into wholeness, which then means it's literally a new doors opening. Things that are hard will be easier. You will get more divine guidance through, you trust it more. We still need physical action steps, but especially if you're in a space of not trusting yourself, being scared, not knowing how to move forward, that will change. And you get your own clearing, which is very, very powerful. You do homework for 21 days. And you also have access to me for another month, because I won't just let you hang. I want to make sure that you are out the door, rocking it. So that's the full reading. And if you want to dip your toe in, very important information, but it's information, then
I found it priceless.
Pay the $97 and see, experience the power of that.
Linda said, could you please give an example?
Yeah, and the full reading, sorry, thanks, Nicole. So the full reading includes the soul profile.
No. Linda said, could you give an example of physical action steps?
Well, I mean, again, I'm totally dumbing it down here, but say you've lost your job and you don't know what to do, okay? And so then we might look at, okay, so this is the new, you might want to still work and this would be a better fitting job, okay? So we can do all the clearing in the world, but unless you then go out and put in an application or ask people, that would be a physical action step. Or if you say you don't say much in the company of other people, or it's very hard for you to give your honest opinion, that would come up in the reading, and then we clear it, and then I would say, okay, practice with a friend who loves you. Yeah, so it's still physical action steps, but small action steps help, depending on what I see is happening for you. If that makes sense. Yeah.
And Mike wanted to know who was your Akashic teacher? You told us once, but
sure, I'll tell you what, if you want to. It's soul realignment. Happy to give you a link. Hang on. For that, just have to look, because Andrea is actually doing free webinars. Let me just find it. Well, I'll do that. If there are any more questions, let me know.
Any additional questions?
I think we've covered everything.
Okay.
Anne said she's not looking to clear anything. Okay.
Sorry?
And let's see, what else do we have over here? Okay, who was your teacher? Anne's good. Nicole, I think we've got everything. Well, this has been so wonderful. I want everybody to raise their glass, your wine, your tea, your pumpkin juice, whatever you have. By the way, I'm gonna learn how to make pumpkin juice like in Harry Potter.
And I think we should have a toast to snake catchers everywhere.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, to the snake
Okay, let's not talk about snakes.
No, the catchers.
Okay.
And to Shivany. Shivany, thank you.
And to
so much.
Shivany, not necessarily the
Shivany.
snake catcher.
Have a fantastic weekend. It's so much fun knowing you.
Thank you, Shivany. This has been awesome.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you.
Reminder.
So good to see you again.
And Shivany, give Akash a big hug for all of us.
Yeah.
He's outside in the garden. I can't even show him to you. But he's
Oh
not
my
barking,
gosh.
so that's good.
Y'all
That's
just
good.
envision a pony that looks like a dog. I promise.
Like a Shetland pony?
Yep.
Thank you, Shivani.
Thank you so
Bye
much.
for now.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you. I love you
Bye.
guys.
Thank you.
Namaste.
Love, love, love.